A little while ago, a company by the name of Feiyutech sent me a gimbal, the AK-2000S, and I was very impressed with it. A couple weeks ago, they reached out to me again and asked if I'd like to check out their newest model, the Feiyutech Scorp, and after spending a few days with it, there's a lot to say about this thing. Let's start with the box. If you remember from my last gimbal video, the box they gave me was one of my biggest cons. It was a styrofoam case with a specific place for each piece of the gimbal, and besides it being large, it was just not very practical when it came to traveling around. The Scorp comes with its very own carrying case, which is a lot more compact and even has hidden compartments for extra accessories you may want in the future. In the case, you have a tripod stand, 2 quick release plates, a camera lens holder, and then various cables for hooking the gimbal up to your computer, charger, or camera of your choice. The last thing in the box is, of course, the gimbal itself, which is beautiful, and a lot smaller than the AK series that they came out with last year. They named this gimbal the Scorpion, and its design is very reminiscent of the name. Now you may have noticed a few things on this gimbal right off the bat. The first thing I noticed is the underslung. On the AK-2000, you had to assemble and disassemble the underslung when you wanted to use it and pack it away. The Scorp has the arm built right in, and I really love this. It gives you a lot of versatility when shooting whatever it is you're filming, but you also won't be seeing scratch marks along the side of your gimbal from removing this thing. The next thing you may notice is the tripod legs. When I first saw this, I thought it was a stabilizer for your arm or something, but it turns out it's just so you can set the thing down. It's kinda cool and it does make it look like a scorpion, but there's not a lot of usability there other than it looking neat. For example, if I'm gonna balance my camera, I have to do it while the gimbal's level, hence the stand. If I wanna calibrate the gimbal, same thing. I'm mostly gonna be using the tripod that they sent me, but this still does look really cool. Now, this gimbal can support up to 5.5 pounds or 2.5 kilograms, which is great since my Panasonic GH5 with the Olympic lens weighs roughly 2.5 pounds, and the GH5 is known as a weighty camera, so if you're using a Sony or a Canon, you're going to be totally fine. This thing also boasts a 2500 mAh internal battery, which grants roughly 8 hours of use on one charge, depending on the weight of your camera and what you're doing. I will say that I charged this to full last night and then I went out with it for a couple hours and it dropped to half battery, but again, I do have a pretty weighty camera, so your runtime will vary. Luckily, this supports fast charging, so just 5 minutes on the wall will give you roughly 30 minutes of playtime, and that's really nice if you need a quick shot and it's out of battery. I'll show off some more neat features before I get into the use of this gimbal. One issue I had with the AK-2000 was attaching my camera. See, in order to put the AK-2000 back in its case, you have to reset the gimbal back to its stock form, and when you do that, you're messing up the balance for your specific camera. So what they did with the Scorp is they added these little red dots around the guide, so all you have to do is set up your camera, place the red dots to match, and then when you break it down and rebox it, you'll be able to easily set it back up the next time you use it. Just set everything to the red dots and pop the camera back into place. I love that they did this, and it really cuts down on setup time. Now, there are a few tests that I ran earlier today with this gimbal to see how it operated. The first test was a stairs test. I wanted to see how well the gimbal would do as I walked up and down a bunch of stairs. Mind you, I wasn't trying to walk carefully. This is a basic test to see what the gimbal can do without any help, and I was really impressed with the results. Beyond that, I went for a walk with the gimbal, and again, I was not careful. I didn't have any smoothness settings turned on for my camera either, and I'm a pretty aggressive walker. This thing cut out a lot of bobble that you normally get, and even when I stumbled, the gimbal made up for the shake quite well. Now, of course, like every product, there are always pros and cons, and I've mentioned a lot of good things already. I love the memory red dots, and I cannot tell you how helpful that is for setting this gimbal up. I like the look and feel. The center of gravity is much lower on this gimbal, which lowers arm strain while using it. The underslung being built in is very nice, and they even updated the wheel on this thing. They're calling it their electronic magic wheel, and it's very smooth. I gotta admit, I like the tightness of the AK-2000's wheel better. There's something about the way that it feels that just does it for me, but I can't complain about this new one. Updating these gimbals is really easy too. All you have to do is download the app, it'll automatically search for your gimbal, and then it finds it almost instantly. Then you just hit the update button and it does it right then and there. There's a lot that I like about this gimbal. I initially thought I'd be taking the AK-2000 with me on the road, but as compact as the Scorp is, and as easy as it is to use, it just makes sense to bring this one along. The Scorp goes for $429, and they even have a Scorp Pro that's ridiculous in all the right ways for $659. If you're interested in getting into gimbals for your video work, I recommend this company. The AK2000 was easily the most competitive budget gimbal on the market when it came out, and they're only improving as they go. They listen to their customers, and they even implemented ideas that I had in my last video, and I like to see that in a company. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.